side. There we go. Oh, wrong side. Goodness. Okay. We're going to look over chapter 10 page, kiddos, and we will read chapter 11 after. So, you had 3 parts for homework. Let's start with the character analysis. What did you say about Ray? What did you say? How would you describe Ray so far throughout the whole book up until now? Monica?
Like, kind of like,
What'd you put down?
Well, I wrote down angry.
Angry. So he is kind of angry, isn't he? He's upset. Angry or upset. Ryan?
Protective.
Ooh, protective. What else? Zane?
Shocked.
Shocked. What is he shocked about?
Shiloh.
He's shocked about finding Shiloh up on the hill, right? Lily?
I put understanding.
Understanding. What do you mean by understanding?
He wasn't super duper crazy when he found Shiloh.
Right, he kind of reacted. We might think it's an overreaction, but when we slow down and look at it, he kind of is normal, right? He's not being too crazy with it. Brooke?
I think I'm also pretty much like disappointed or worried
Disappointed. Who do you think is disappointed?
in Marty, and also worried about the bill with Judd.
And worried about the bill from the vet or the doctor and maybe Judd coming. Alicia? Upset. So kind of off of that angry. We could say angry / upset. Look at all of these. You guys are rock stars. Adam? Frustrated. That is a really good adjective. I think that describes Ray nicely. Thomas?
I know I put this into one word. I feel like you can't really trust Brian anymore. Like in the book, he said, "What other secrets have you been keeping from me?"
Yeah. So
isn't that kind of like anxious?
we could say distrustful or anxious, almost like worried, right? Anxious, worried about it.
Ray has a lot of adjectives.
He does. We got more even. Christian?
Kind of curious because he was telling Marty, "Do you have any more secrets or anything?"
Curious. He wants to know what else is Marty have going on. Claire? Confused. What's he confused about?
Like all this is happening so fast. Wait, what's happening? Why is Judd's dog here?
Right? Everything's just coming at Ray from Ray's point of view, like whoosh. Everything's just in his face right now. It's coming out of nowhere. Way to think from Ray. Amelia? Ashamed. Ashamed in what?
Ashamed of Marty.
Marty for what?
For lying to him and telling him that he hasn't seen the dog anywhere.
Yeah, he's like, you lied straight to my face. Camille? Loud? He did get kind of loud, didn't he?
Holy cow.
He was getting. Why was he loud though? Was he right to be kind of loud?
Yeah.
You know, sometimes when we get angry, our voice rises, right? We get so heated. Monica?
He's also kind of because Marty. He let him keep Marty until he was healed because he didn't.
He let Marty keep Shiloh. Yeah.
Even though Marty had been lying to him a lot.
Right. He still was thinking about the dog's best interest because he could have just said, "Not our dog," right? We got to go tell Judd right now. Micah? Thoughtful. Sorry, I missed that. Thoughtful. Kind of going off of Monica's a little bit, right? Thinking through about the dog and others. Last one. Lizzie?
Overreacting.
You think he's overreacting?
No. I mean, I would do the exact same thing if I found that.
Maybe. Let's see. So he's not overreacting, but he is...
I'd say he's underreacting. Yeah.
I don't know if you think he's underreacting?
No. Yeah, underreacting. That's fine.
It's no big deal, right?
Even though he 50 times.
But he also is reacting a little harshly, don't you think?
Yeah.
So maybe could we say he's kind of harsh? Like he's strong on his decision? That is a lot. That is fabulous. Isn't it more fun when we all participate and share our thoughts?
Yeah.
Look at that. All right, let's come down to the think about it, or over to the think about it, the 3 questions. This one was kind of tricky. Why does Dad say to Marty, "You saying so don't make it true"? What is Dad talking about there? Rosie?
Because Marty may be lying about that. About if he's lying to his dad.
Marty lied before. Like, how does Ray know he isn't lying again? Yeah. That is a fourth grade answer, okay? Saying, using an example from the story and a full sentence. Fabulous. Something along those lines about he doesn't know if he can trust him. Do you have something with that answer?
Yeah.
That's what I'm looking for there. All right, let's go on to the author shows that Marty's changed. This chapter, Marty went through a big change. What was his change in this chapter? Brooke?
First he went to being like just a normal boy that just wants to have fun, and then now he's like more of a liar and a thief, and like he's been keeping secrets.
He's been okay, but think specifically about this last chapter. What changed in Marty in this last chapter? Because he's been kind of keeping those secrets the whole book mostly, right? Think about this last chapter 10. What was Marty's switch? What was his change? Adam?
That he was keeping his dog, and now his dog just got bit, and now he's about to craft the dog again.
So he's thinking about giving it back. You're closer. We're getting there. Think back to when he's at the doctor's house. What specifically happens? What, Amelia?
He's not been telling the truth anymore.
Marty is now telling the truth.
That is literally exactly what I wrote.
The truth. Remember what he said? I gotta start sometime, right? Now he's telling the truth. That's his change. He's realizing I can't keep going on this way. Okay? Do you hear how loud that is? Do you hear how loud that is? All right. And our last one. Whose point of view is this story told in? Whose point of view, Isaac? It's Marty's point of view. You also might have said first person, right? Because he talks a lot about I and me and we, right? It's not that third like he and she, and it's not second. It doesn't say like you are doing this and you, right? It's a lot of Marty describing things. Thomas?
Can I add on with a reason?
Sure.
I think it's Marty's, because in the book, I feel like Marty's talking, and it says I, so we know that when it says I, we can think that he's not put in Marty's head and what he's thinking about.
Yeah, Marty's talking and is the, do you remember what that word is that describes like the overall when the person's not saying something and you know their thoughts? Do you know that word that describes that character or that person? Every story has one. Nathan? He's the narrator. Just like Thomas was saying. He's that narrator. He's describing what they're thinking or what they're doing, even when they're not saying the words. Okay, but just because they're the main character, does that mean it's from their point of view? No. Like, think about Harry Potter. Does it ever get into Harry's, like, in Harry Potter, it talks about third person, right? Like, he said, she said, right? Okay. Rosie?
I do.
I could kind of tell because it's Marty's point of view, because if it was his dad's point of view, his dad would probably be like, I can't believe that he kept that up here. And like if it was his mom's point of view, it'd be like, the dog is really nice.
Right? If the story was written from somebody else's point of view, would it be different or the same?
Different.
It'd be different. Everyone sees things differently. We wouldn't know Marty's thoughts at all. All right, and the stop and drop. Why do you think Dad decides to let Marty keep Shiloh? Why does he decide that? Remember all along he's like, the law's the law, I gotta send him back. But now he's like, you can keep him till he's better. Zach, what do you think, Ed?
Because, I mean, as much as he wants to attune it to God, he knows, I think he knows what Judge would do to it.
Yeah, so you might say, I think Dad knows what Judd
And do.
would do to a hurt dog, right? You might even go one step farther and give the examples like Marty did, right? When he was like, they have found hurt beagles and they found dead beagles, right? Knowing that he doesn't have much respect for the law, something along those lines, he would continue to hurt Shiloh. Do you have something about that? And give yourselves a pat on the back if you have something along those lines. All right, and we're going to move on then, okay? Chapter 11, we only have one vocab word today. It's called antibiotics. Antibiotics. You probably have taken these before. It is a drug that is used to kill harmful bacteria. Okay? Because did you know you actually have good, helpful bacteria inside of you?
Yeah.
There's some good bacteria. So this kills the harmful bacteria because that's what makes you kind of that sick. You might take antibiotics if you have like strep throat, or if you have like the flu. Can you really take antibiotics? No. That's a virus. So if you have like a germ or something, then you can take antibiotics. But if you have more of like a viral thing, like the flu, you can't really do anything. That's what makes being sick so tough. All right. We have main idea and details we'll do together today. Then we'll have facts and opinion and a stop and jot. Okay? So let's get our books out to chapter, what are we on, 11 already?
Yeah.
Whoa. We only have 15 chapters, too. We're getting close to the end, aren't we? Do you think we've reached, like, the peak, the climax of our story yet?
No.
No, because what happens at the climax, usually?
Probably like.
It's, like, the most intense part. Are we almost there, do you think?
Yeah.
What do you think is going to be that climax, the highest part of our story where we're, like, on the edge of our seats just waiting to see what happens? Peter, what do you think it's going to be?
When they return
When Judd starts to come back in, right? And Shiloh gets around there. Something around that, probably. All right. So we last left, and they're going to keep the dog where for right now? Do you remember? At the doctor's office, at Doc Murphy's. Christian?
Are we gonna watch the movie after?
At the very end, we will. Yes. Okay. Probably next week. Okay. All right. Well, we're almost done with the book. We're on chapter 11 already. Rosie?
It's an AR.
I think this is an AR book. Yes, so you could take after we finish this today. All right, fourth grade friends, are you open to chapter 11? I spy some friends who are still finding theirs. If you're sharing, thank you for sharing. I appreciate that. All right. So we know that Marty and Dad are back home now, and Shiloh is at Doc Murphy's. All right. It's only after I lie back down on the couch that night that I realize what all I've done. To Ma and Dad, for one thing. Ma's still awake. I can see the light in the bedroom as Dad goes on down the hall. And then I hear their voices. Not all of what they say, but enough. Ray, told you I just found out about that dog myself. Secrets from me, you and Marty. Till tomorrow. I would have told you then. Every day, the mail to Judge's place mentions that dog to me, and all the time, up on my own property, me not even knowing. I bring my arms up against my ears and hold them there. So many things going wrong. It's hard to remember anything going right. Doc Murphy knows I've got Judd's dog now. Dad's mad at Ma, and we won't know till tomorrow if Shiloh's even going to make it. Worst of all, I brought Shiloh here to keep him from being hurt, and what that German shepherd's done to him was probably worse than anything Judd Travers would have brought himself to do, short of shooting him anyway. This time, when the tears come again, I don't even fight it. I don't even try and holding it back. Don't even try holding it back. I must have slept through Dad's going off to work the next morning, because when I awake, Becky's standing beside the couch eating a piece of honey toast and breathing on my face. Darlene's already told her about the dog, because she asked right off, "Where is it at, the doggy?" I sit up and tell her the dog's at Doc Murphy's, and we'll find out how he is that afternoon. Then I look in the kitchen at Ma. There's the set look about the lips that means trouble. That means don't mess with her, because she's already in trouble with Dad. I go outside, pick me a couple wormy peaches, and sit on the stoop eating them, spitting out the wormy places. Darlene comes out and sits beside me. Today she's all kindness. "Judge Travers don't take care of his dog, Marty. No wonder it come up here," she says, trying to say all the right thing. I can tell she's been figuring it all out, too, from what she could overhear between Ma and Dad, and anything else Ma told her. I take another bite of peach. "It wasn't like you stole him," she says. "That dog come up here on its own." "Hush up, darling," I say, which I had no business saying. I didn't want to talk to anyone, that's all. "Well, you could have told me and I wouldn't have told anyone." "Thanks. Ma says we gotta give him back to Judge Travers when he's better." I get up and start toward the hill to clean up the ground where Shiloh was attacked. See if there's any way I can put some fence wire over the top of the pen to keep out the shepherd. "What's his name, Marty?" Darling calls after me. "Shiloh," I tell her. I'm only halfway up the hill when I hear a car and turn around. It's Mrs. Howard's car, and David's in it. Soon as he sees me, he jumps out. It's still moving a little, and comes running toward me. "I get to stay here today," he yells, waving a kite he's brought with him. "Everyone else is going to Parkersburg, and I didn't want to go." I look over to where Ma and Mrs. Howard are talking, see Ma nodding her head. I get lonely sometimes up at our house, but today I want to be with that loneliness. Don't want to talk to Darlene, to Becky, to Dad, or even to Ma. If we had a telephone, I'd be calling Doc Murphy every hour. As it is, I have to wait till Dad comes home from work before I can find out about Shiloh. Can't go down there pestering Doc, him with patience to see. "What do you want to do?" I asked David, trying to dig up the least bit of enthusiasm. David and I are in the same grade, even though he's taller and heavier and looks like junior high already. "Try out this kite over in your meadow," he says. I lead him around the long way, away from Shiloh's pen. He doesn't even notice because he's unwrapping his kite, made of silk or something, which one of his relatives brought him. We stand out in the meadow flying the kite, and I watch the blue and yellow and green tail whipping around in the breeze, and I'm thinking about Shiloh's tail the way it wags. You get a dog on your mind, it seems to fill up the whole space. Everything you do reminds you of that dog. When we bring the kite down later, though, David sees a groundhog. Next thing you know, he's after it. The groundhog zigzagging this way and that, David yelling like crazy. "I'm taking your kite back down to the house, David," I yell when I see him getting near Shiloh's pen. He goes on running and yelling. "I'm going to get me a handful of soda crackers. You want to make some peanut butter cracker sandwiches?" I call out, trying to get him to follow. And then his yelling stops. "Hey," he says. I know he's found the pen, and I walk over. "What's this?" David asks. He looks at the blood on the ground. "Hey, what happened here?" I go over and yank his arm and make him sit down. He's looking at me bug-eyed. "You listen to me, David Howard," I say. Whenever I say David Howard, he knows it's serious. Only did it twice in my life. Once when he sat on the paper flower pot I made for Ma at school, and once when he saw me with my pants down in the bathroom. That really made me mad. But today, I'm not mad. I'm serious. Something awful and terrible happened in there, David. And if you ever tell anyone, even your Ma and Dad, may Jesus make you blind. That's the kind of talk my folks can't stand. But I got it from Grandma Preston herself. Ma says Jesus don't go around making anyone blind, but Grandma Preston always used it as a warning, and she went to church Sunday morning and evening both. David's eyes about to pop out of his head. "What?" he asks again. "You know Judge Travers? He was murdered!" "No, but you know the way he's mean to his dogs? He killed one of the dogs in there? No! Let me tell it, David. You know he's missing a dog. Yeah. Well, it come up here on its own, and I let him stay. I built him a pen and kept him secret and named him Shiloh. David stares back at me, then at the blood in the pen, then back at me again. Last night, I tell him, German Shepherd, jumped the fence and tore him up. We took Shiloh to Doc Murphy, and Judd don't know. David's mouth falls open and hangs there. Wow, he says. Then says it again. I tell David how hurt Shiloh was and how we've got to wait till tonight to see how he is. And then we go into his pen together, and David helps me clean up the blood, pulls up all the grass with bloodstains on it, and throws it over the fence into the woods. It's easier somehow with David helping, with David even knowing even. If it was me by myself, I'd be thinking again and again how this never would have happened if Shiloh could have gotten away from the shepherd. I look at David and think we're friends for life. Then I think of how there are exactly 7 people now who know I have Judd Travers' dog, and it's only a matter of time before somebody lets it out. Probably Becky. She'll warble to the first person coming up the lane. Did you ever notice how the more a little kid tries not to tell a secret, the sooner it gets out? Nothing that child can do about it. A secret's just too big for a little kid. What I didn't expect was that at 3:30, before Dad come home, here's Doc Murphy's car chugging up the lane, and he's got Shiloh in the back seat. I'm standing out by the oak tree with David, taking turns on the bag swing, when I see the car and Shiloh's head raised up in the back seat. I'm over to that car in 3 seconds flat. Shiloh! No cry ever sounded so happy as the one that came out of my throat. All of us were crowded around the car, Ma and Darlene and Becky and David Howard, and all of us were saying, Shiloh, here boy, and holding out our hands, and Shiloh's trying to lick everything in sight. Patient recovered faster than I thought he would, Doc says, getting his big belly out from behind the steering wheel and standing up. So I figured I'd bring him on over myself. And then to Mother, have patients coming in and out today, and don't know that I wanted them to see the dog. She nodded. I'm going to pay for this, Doc Murphy, I tell him. You send the bill to Dad and he'll pay it, but then I'm paying him. Well, son, that's a generous thing to do, with the dog not even yours, he says. Is he all well now? No, not by a long shot. Think it's going to take a couple weeks to heal, and I can't promise you he'll walk without a limp. But I got him sewn back up and full of antibiotics. You can keep him quiet for a few days, and off that leg, I think he'll pull through just fine. If Ma was mad at me before, she's not now. Not the way Shiloh's licking all over both arms, getting a quick lick in at her face every time she bends close. Becky's sticking her hand out for Shiloh to lick, and when she does, she squeals and pulls back, Shiloh's tail going like crazy. It's like a welcome home party. Ma has me bringing in this cardboard box from the shed, and we put an old pillowcase in the bottom of it and cover it with a clean sheet, and Doc Murphy lays Shiloh down inside it. Shiloh seems to know he can't walk too good, because as soon as he tries to stand up, he sits back down again and licks at his leg. I'm glad Shiloh's back. I'm glad he's going to get better, and that we can keep him till he's well. But the more I sit there petting his head, feeling his happiness, the more I know I can't give him up. I won't. That is quite the ending, huh?
That is a good ending.
What do you think about Dara Lynn's reaction in this chapter, 4th grade friends? What do you think? No, that was Becky, remember? How did Dara Lynn react? Lily?
She was like, she kind of grew up.
What do you mean by that?
Like, she was like, she tried to make Marty feel better.
Yeah, she's trying to, relate to Marty, right? She's like, well, you didn't steal him, right? He came to you. You were just trying to help him. She's trying to make Marty feel better, right? Make him not feel so guilty, so sad. Rosie?
She's also trying to make Marty feel like she's like an older kid because I don't will kids like to do that, and when Shiloh comes back, she's probably gonna want to help with Shiloh a lot.
Probably, right? She seems pretty caring, though. Do you think it's sincere? I think so too. Yeah. Did you like David Howard's reaction? You murdered him! I thought that was funny. And he's like, let me tell it. Would your reaction have been different than David Howard's?
Yeah.
Well, keep in mind all David knew before, right? It's my friend. He won't let me come over. I finally get to come over, and I find out he's been keeping a dog up here. The dog got attacked. It's kind of like he stole the dog. Would your reaction really have been much different?
No.
I
would be like,
All right. And so now, fourth grade friends, we know how many people know about Shiloh? 7. Do you think Judd's gonna find out now?
Yes.
Why?
Yes.
Why do you think Judd's gonna find out now? Maddie, what are you thinking? Is Judd gonna find out? Why are you thinking? What's gonna happen?
Well, because it's like
You can't keep a secret forever. Let's think.
and also
Who do you think's gonna tattle?
Becky.
Becky. Yeah, remember Becky will warble. What does warble mean? Do you think? Blah 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 blah. Yeah, put some of you warble all day. Okay. So Becky might warble to anybody. What else? Think through what happened in this chapter that might be a giveaway. Zane?
When Marty screamed Shiloh, Judd might have been out raking leaves or something, and he heard.
Maybe Judd was walking around. He could have heard that. Maybe he did. That's a good example from the story. Claire?
Like when Marty says once when he went to the store and he was once a lot of gossip or whatever going on in the shop and then started out, maybe someone maybe they will go help parents and then the parents will tell other people.
David might tell his parents, right? Did Marty make him keep it a secret?
Yeah, that's
Ooh, so maybe David's going to tell. What else? Think through. We had a character come halfway through the chapter. What happened with that character that might give it away? Elijah?
It might be Doc Murphy because he said he had a lot of patients and they all made a facade about it.
Yeah, remember Doc Murphy had patients coming in and out? He goes, I don't know if they saw the dog, but if you see a dog in a doctor's house and you know somebody's missing a dog, do you think people would put 2 and 2 together?
Yeah.
They might. And we know, kind of like Claire, people in Friendly like to chat on the side. Ooh.
And it wasn't Doc Murphy promised he would keep it a secret. Marty never asked him to keep it a secret, so he might just not think it was such a big deal, and maybe you're just babysitting for him for the day.
Maybe. We'll have to see next time what happens. All right, let's get our chapter 11 questions. Let's go over the main idea and details, okay? So do you remember we did main idea a while ago?
Yeah.
Main idea is the big picture. And think about the details I always like to think of this, the main idea and details. I'm going to draw up here. You're going to draw this picture with me. I always like to think of main idea as an umbrella. So the main idea is covering a lot of space, right?
Yeah.
But then our detail are those little raindrops, things that go around the main idea. Okay?
Oh.
Little raindrops are details. They're little little parts. Okay? So let's think through in just chapter 11. I know this is hard, but think just chapter 11. What was the main idea? What's that big idea that's happening in chapter 11? Monica?
Wondering if Shiloh's okay.
If Shiloh is okay. So we're maybe worrying about Shiloh. I think so too, because throughout the whole chapter, there's different examples of that. Now, we need to think of 3 details that prove that worrying about Shiloh is the main idea. What are little clues that the author gives us? What's one, Lily?
Marty said, like, he just kept thinking about her.
Marty, yep. So Marty keeps thinking about Shiloh, right? It's always on his mind. All right, so we can't use Marty, that part anymore. We already used that one. We need 2 different examples now. Brooke?
At the ending, when everybody else said Shiloh and they came rushing on the truck.
Yeah. Everyone rushed the truck when Doc Murphy came, right? Everyone's rushing. They're like, oh, Shiloh. And what's one more example that shows that we're worrying about Shiloh? Claire?
Marty said I could call Dr. Murphy like every other hour.
Marty's thinking, that kind of goes with that thinking about it, right? He wants to call all the time. That is another detail. It kind of goes off of that one a little bit. Ollie?
This is with, like, the second one, but, like, he said from the hill he got down there in
3 seconds flat, right? Remember? 3 seconds flat. Good details. All right.
Details for the details.
Details are important. All right, Monica, what's the last one?
Is it like when David Howard was there, like when he was just like he was murdered, or like
What?
David Howard finding out, right? That kind of goes, because then he's helping Marty, right, clean up. David Howard finding out. It's kind of that last big detail, right? That's what's so hard about details. Sometimes we can have 3. Sometimes we can have 4, 5, 6, 7.
8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13.
Maybe not that many. But we can have a lot of details, okay? You guys crush that. Air fist bump, go. Nice. All right, and for my distance learning friends, air fist bump. Okay? All right, so let's talk about the other 2 parts. Do you know the difference between a fact and an opinion?
Yeah.
What is an opinion? What's an opinion? Ryan?
It's like what you think.
It's kind of what you think, right? So this is what you think. And what's a fact? What's a fact then? Camille?
something that you know.
Something you know, right? Okay? So for each of these, what you're going to have to do is tell me if it's a fact, and you'll write a letter F. If it's an opinion, you would write a letter O. Let's do the first one together, okay? Doc Murphy knows I got Judd's dog now. Is that a fact or is that an opinion? Lily?
Oh, no. Can it mean, like, Doc Murphy knows that... Oh, no, not Charlotte. Marty's got this...
Yes, the I, remember, because it's taking the sentence from the story. So it's I, yeah, so Doc Murphy knows that I, as in Marty, have the dog. That is a fact, so we would write an F. Does that make sense for that part? And then you also have the stop and jot question. You've been doing a rock star job about 4th grade answers, 4th grade friends. Keep up the good work. You really only have one 4th grade answer question needed, okay? So this is your homework for today. Thanks for joining.